Hello, everybody. It's Brent Barcey with OSARO. I'm here with Gemma. She is our VP of Ops, and we're going to talk, as opposed to doing a boring LinkedIn post with a bunch of pictures of the team and talking about our recap of IMTS, we thought we'd do something a little different, and I'm going to grill Gemma on what she thought of the show. So, Gemma, first impressions. This is your first IMTS.
Yes, the very first.
So tell me what you think.
I mean, it was incredibly impressive to see the scale of the machinery that's there. I mean, that's always fun to look at, right? But I think one of the really big things that jumped out to me is I don't know if you can win at trade show, but if someone were to have won IMTS, it was really clear to me that that was FANUC.
You mean the Corvette on a robot? That helped?
Their booth was amazing,
Yeah.
I won't lie, but they were in so many other booths too, of course, including ours, which we shared with Canon. So big thank you to Canon for having us in their booth. And you can't use a hammer for everything, right? You can use a robot as a tool for a lot of different things, and that was really cool to see. I was really impressed by how many different versions of FANUC robots were doing so many different things.
I think this was most of our team's first IMTS. I think that was the only one who had the pleasure of going to the show of multiple years, and obviously with my experience at FANUC. But one of the cool things that I thought was fun to see is when you walk the floor, they were ringing the bell, because they actually sell a lot of those machines on the floor. Most people, a lot of the guys didn't know that were with us. These folks bring these machines from overseas. They do not want to take them back. So if they can sell them on the floor, they will. And when they do, they ring a bell and everybody goes crazy. So that was kind of neat to see it through the eyes of the folks that have never experienced that before. You mentioned FANUC. I mean, they invited us to their cocktail reception, what you want to call it, on Monday evening. They must have had 1,000 people there. That was really awesome. Yeah. What else did you see? I mean, we saw robot dogs that are allegedly, securing parking lots.
Dogs.
At the mall. I mean, what else did you see that you thought was like, man, that's something I wouldn't have expected to see at the show?
I come from robotics,
Right.
so for me, the robot dog was like, cool, I've seen you before. And and it is really cool every time you see it. And it gets a huge, like people just surround it.
Yeah.
Seeing some of the humanoid robot stuff that was there, that's newer. That is really cool to see. We'll see how the application works out for those. But I'm not familiar with the manufacturing world.
Right.
So seeing those huge machines where all of a sudden I was like, why is there so much water in this machine? I don't even know what it's doing, but it's very cool. So it was neat to suddenly be a part of that world that I think to most people, they're like, yeah, the big CNC machines, that just existed for a long time.
What they do.
Ooh,
right.
That's new for me.
Right.
Oh, robot dog, that's very still cool. But it was really those big machines creating the large parts that I'm just like, that's new for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess you do kind of just take it for granted when, not that I grew up in this industry, but I've been going to the show for a better part of 10 years now, and you see it, and you're like, oh, that's cool. You just take it for, I mean, like, there's a Corvette on a robot. Well, of course FANUC can do that. It's like, no, there's a Corvette on a robot, right? Yeah. There's 100,000 people that attend the show. I think 85,000 attend between Monday and Wednesday, and then
it was busy.
After that, it kind of tapers off. I mean, we had a lot of people, a lot of foot traffic. We showed auto bagging, right? So parts to an auto bagger. I don't think anybody else was showcasing that at the show. Mm-hmm. So it was good. I mean, I think people saw that and went, I didn't realize that an AI machine vision company would be here showcasing this, right? I think you got a lot of traction from that.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like I was saying, there are lots of robots there doing all sorts of things. There wasn't anything else that we were doing. So our robot was doing something pretty different from all of the others. And I think that was the really exciting thing for me too. I was like, I think we have something here. And we were showing our bagging solution. That's been live in production since early 2023.
Right.
It's been going for years. So to me, it doesn't feel new. And as people walked by, I think they were like, this is refreshing, something new.
I know Chris Lukey was excited when he stopped by the booth to see the thing in action, or the robot, in action. Mm-hmm. And he's been a big advocate for everything that all of us are trying to do in this industry. So that was pretty cool for him to stop by and kind of give us a shout out as well.
Yeah, Jay Call also stopped by, Manufacturing Millennial, and I know he's been following OSARO for a while. That was nice that he also got to
Was he wearing a Chicago Cubs hat or a Detroit Tigers
hat? He was wearing a hat. I did notice that.
It's the Cubbies. Yeah, it's always the Cubbies. Nah, he's another good guy too. I mean, Mission is a good integrator of ours. Shape Technology was there. There was a lot of the integrators that are showcasing their ability, and that, you know, obviously those are our partners. That's how we go to market. So it's good to see those folks too. Is there anybody else that you saw there that you were like, yeah, that's interesting that they would be at a show like this? Because I think a lot of people looked at our technology going, this probably isn't the show that you would normally come to, right? But Canon being an awesome partner with regard to, you know, allowing us to kind of squat in their booth, but we do use their force sensors, right? So we talked a lot about that with the folks that were coming by.
Yep.
Any other things that caught your eye? Like, okay, you know, the humanoids are cool. See where it goes.
Yeah.
Or what did you see that was just they're podcasting in the middle of this show? This is crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
It's
quite the production,
right?
And so the production value is really high there. And as someone who came from the entertainment industry, did movies before, I was actually shocked. I was like, oh, you have a main stage that's always projecting content, whether it was pre-recorded or they were doing those live interviews. It's clear that this industry, like manufacturing, is huge. And so when we talk about manufacturing disappearing, it's really hard to believe that when you're at this show.
No.
You go, I don't know, I think it might be changing, but it's not going anywhere.
And from a production standpoint, you bring up a good point. When you walk into that building, they're actually piping in. Did you notice that? Yeah. You could hear the podcast. They're like, "Where's this coming from?"
Oh yeah, you were physically blown away by it because they were playing it so loudly.
Yeah, no, they were. But I mean, like it's a really good show. I think
it had an atmosphere. That's for sure.
It did, and it was packed. I think, like I said, 100,000 people. You're not going to get any more than that. There's a reason it's every 2 years. I think another thing that this show is different than any other show is they have an actual, you know, area dedicated to the creators that are out there. All these influencers that we have in the industry. I think you had the maven of manufacturing, you had the automation ladies, and quite a lot of people. So every time you walked past there, they always had somebody in there yucking it up about whether it was spindles or CNCs or robots, whatever it was. I don't know of any other show that does. I mean, they were doing this 5-6 days straight. Did you notice that as well when you walked by there?
Yeah, well, and that's the cool thing about the show is more than just the machines, right? It's also the people behind them.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually a pretty interesting part of it as well.
They do a really good job of promoting, you know, just automation in general and getting people on there. So that, again, IMTS it's different where it counts. You know what I mean? It really is. It was a good show. Well, guys, thank you for listening. I think we're going to continue to do this type of thing. I'm going to put Gemma in this spot and drive her crazy. I'd rather do this than a LinkedIn, you know, standard LinkedIn post saying it was a great show. It's nice to hear, you know, what Gemma thinks. I like to hear what she thinks anyways. Coming up, we've got a big announcement coming up in the next few weeks here, so look for that. And then we'll be at PAC Expo, walking that show floor, taking meetings there as well. So please
come join us.
Like us on LinkedIn, follow us, all the fun things. Thank you for listening.